kids. Can you wave? Good morning. Hey, I'm so glad to be here with you today, and I've brought a special guest who normally naps at this time but didn't want to nap today, and so he's hanging out with me and with us while we share a special message. I hope that's okay. So today I want to ask you, if you had a friend who was sick or a friend who was hurting and you could help them, would you do it? What would you do it? But what if it was really hard? Like, what if you had to do something that was really hard and maybe even seemed kind of impossible? Do you think you'd do it? This week, in our Kids at Home lesson, we are learning about a man who couldn't walk, and about the faith that his friends had, and about the miraculous healing that Jesus did. Not just in this story, but this week we're going to look at this story. And so this story starts with, let me get a prop here. Now we have our friend, this is Mr. Dragon, okay? Mr. Dragon, he couldn't walk, so we're lying him down. He couldn't walk, and he had this cot that he stayed on, and he couldn't walk. And he had these friends who, they said, we want to help our friend. What can we do to help? And so all these friends, they came around, and guess what? They had heard that Jesus was coming to town, that Jesus was going to be there, and they had heard, they knew that Jesus could heal people. And so they said, we're going to take you to Jesus. But guess what? The house where Jesus was, would you believe it? The door was not that big. And so when they took their friend to Jesus, when they took their friend to Jesus, he didn't fit through the door on his cot. They couldn't get him in to see Jesus. Can you imagine? They're so close. They're right outside the door. But they can't get him in. And so they think, what can we do? How can we get our friend to Jesus? And they realize that this house that Jesus is in, this house where he's telling other people about who he is and about who God is, they realize that the roof is open. And there's this hole in the roof right above where Jesus is. And they realize that if they can get up to the roof, they can take their friend and they can lower him down into the building. Now, maybe you're thinking, sure, no problem. But I don't know about you. I'm thinking that sounds really hard. First of all, you have to get on top of a building, right? So that's not always easy. And then, you're not just getting yourself on top of a building. You have to also get this man who's on a cot up there, and you got to get him up there carefully and safely so he doesn't get hurt, right? So he doesn't fall off the cot or fall while you're trying to get him up there. And so they have to really carefully get their friend up on top of the building. And then they have to find a safe, careful way to lower him down to Jesus. Sounds to me like this would take a lot of thinking to do it right. And it would take some muscles, right? To get your friend up there and lower him slowly and carefully. But do you know what? These friends, they do it. And I think that there are two big reasons why they do it. And I think the first reason is that they just really care about their friend, right? Their friend is hurting. They want to help. They're good friends. But I think the second reason that they do this is because they have faith that Jesus can heal their friend. I mean, this is a lot of work to do for healing someone who other people thought could never walk again. But they truly believe that Jesus is who he says he is and that he can do this miracle. And do you know what? When they lower their friend to Jesus, Jesus is amazed by their faith. By the faith of these friends who worked so hard to get their friend to Jesus. And there is more to the story about what Jesus does for this man, about what happens to him. And Jesus does and says more than one thing to this man that is really, really cool, but I'm not going to tell you that part here. because I hope that you will check out our Kids at Home lesson to hear the rest of the story. So if you haven't before, I invite you to head to our website, oldtown.cc/children, and you can download our lesson for this week. And I hope you will, and I hope you'll check it out. And I'll see you next time. Have a great week. Bye.